Allez, bonjour. Donc aujourd'hui on va commencer Vampyr. Donc le jeu de Dontnod qui est sorti il y a 2-3 ans maintenant, 2-3 ans. Donc les avis sont mitigés dessus, donc on va voir ce que ça donne. Nouvelle partie. Alors, mode histoire. Mode normal, mode difficile. On va faire mode normal. On ne peut pas changer de mode. Pour terminer, pour aller plus vite ici, c'est vous tuez des citoyens. Difficulté des combats est liée au nombre de citoyens que vous tuez. Allez.
"12 dreams for the Red Queen under crown of stone. 8 voracious beasts born from 8 restless nights. 4 nails piercing the flesh of the sinner. 1 prayer for the summoned, called by this song. 'Tis perhaps the countdown to oblivion for the once proud city of London. 'Tis perchance her inhabitants' last dance alone to face death and pestilence. Confronted by the eerie and unknown, mortals became desperate for answers. A flock's flight makes for an omen, the falling of a star a dire presage. Turning to priests for interpretation when there was no reason to be found. When religion failed, men turned to science. I saw them build such vain cities, crafting machines made for endless war. New questions flourished as old answers withered. What is darkness but lurking sun? What is wall but enslaved stone? What is glass but tortured sand? What is song but a call to arms? What is hate but jilted love? What is life but death pending?
Bah c'est joyeux tout ça.
Death. Since the apple was plucked from the sacred tree, mortality was believed to be God's punishment. A righteous snare to keep mankind from ascending to the stars. They were all so wrong. Death is not a wicked thing, nor some holy retribution. A true punishment would be to never know its sweet kiss. Awaken from the harshness and be born once more.
Bon, on vient de se réveiller dans la fosse commune, ça va, c'est cool.
Thirsty. So thirsty.
Mary! Oh, no! Mary! Hold on! Please, hold on! Oh, God. Oh, no. Mary.
Ça se fait pas de boire le sang de sa famille.
No.
Ça se fait pas.
This horror. It's a nightmare. No! Please, a moment, let me explain! These patrols are after me.
Taillot.
No! No! Don't shoot! This is a nightmare. I need to get out of here. This can't be happening. There's one of those vermin. No! Please, stop! I mean you no harm. What's going on? Oh, Mary. What have I done? What's all this about? Shit, now, I can defend myself.
Kill that thing! Over there!
Who are you? Stay back! Sorry, but you left me no choice.
Donc carrément la machette lui.
Who are you? Stupid beast!
Stand! Finish.
Sorry.
See them fancy clothes?
No,
This
please,
one doesn't
stop.
to light fire, does it?
Who are you?
Fuck, it's fast!
What do you want? I mean you no harm. I need help.
Die, you fucking leech!
Please, listen to me. I can't make any sense of this.
Shut up, beast!
Who are you? What is this all about? What in God's
Son will do the rest of the job.
Just leave me. The sun. It feels like it's burning me to the bone.
D'accord.
I need to find somewhere to hide. Let me go! I need to find shelter. It's locked. Is anybody there? What is this place? The place seems abandoned. I should be safe enough here.
Ouais, vite fait.
Mary! Mary, I'm sorry. Whoever did this to us, I will find them.
Oh la vache.
Wait. This one's dressed up fancy. Let's run through his pockets.
Picking the dead's pockets? Are you serious?
I've still a rent to pay. He's got no more responsibilities. What's this? Gold watch.
Beautiful it is. We fancy it and share the takings. I suppose we are undertakers. Now, give him an Eve. That's impossible.
Mais comment elle s'est retrouvée avec la montre? Soleil et feu. Alors c'est quoi ça? Les suceurs de sang ne craignent pas le soleil, ils ne sont pas immédiatement réduits en cendres s'ils sont touchés par ces rayons. Par contre, cela leur fait très très mal. Un jour, j'ai enchaîné un vampire à un arbre afin de voir ce qu'il allait se passer au lever du soleil. Sa peau a noirci en l'espace de quelques minutes comme si elle brûlait de l'intérieur. Ses yeux et sa chair ont fondu et j'ai vu de mes propres yeux ses os se tortiller toute la journée pour essayer de s'extraire de ses chaînes. Au bout du compte, il n'en est resté qu'un cadavre desséché qui a lentement commencé à se dégénérer dès que le soleil a disparu de l'horizon. Je lui ai coupé la tête afin de le détruire pour de bon. Mais lorsque j'ai fait la même expérience avec du feu, il n'est resté du suceur de sang qu'un tas de cendres dont il n'est jamais revenu. Le feu est donc notre arme de prédilection, mes frères. Le seul moyen de nous débarrasser d'un vampire est de le brûler. Issu de connais tes ennemis. Ok. Un inventaire. Ça a l'air d'être un peu le bordel. Du shining.
I can almost feel the sun's rays like a physical weight pressing against the wood.
Who goes there? Who's there? Are you referring to me? No! No! I still have so much to accomplish. I still have so much left that needs doing. Johnny, this one's lost. We need to leave. And now! No. There's time. I can save him. That's the enemy coming! The orders are to evacuate the hospital!
Done. He'll live. And now what? We fight. Killing is a hell of a lot easier than healing.
No, it never got easy.
Revolver usé. Ah merde. Ok, donc c'est devenu une arme. Oh là là, oh, il y a trop de trucs. Ok. Ah, c'est un objet de quête. Camelot.
This makes no sense. None of it. No sense at all. It's a nightmare. That's it. So be it. Rational thinking only.
Mauvais organe.
This is absolute madness. I've lost touch with the real.
Madness it is. As mad as the moon. Contains blood in sunlight. Into a glowing flesh.
Alors, évolution. Les lits des refuges vous permettent de vous reposer et d'évoluer. Dépensez les points d'expérience pour monter en niveau, améliorer vos compétences vampiriques. Autophagie. Commencez en sélectionnant la compétence disponible. Autophagie. Consommez votre propre sang pour soigner instantanément les dégâts normaux et aggravés. Pardon. Sélectionnez premier niveau. Vous avez gagné un niveau et vous vous sentez plus fort. Ok. Vous avez assez d'expérience pour dévoyer une compétence agressive. Griffe, lance de sang ou brume des ténèbres. Attaque à courte portée qui peut découvrir toute créature vivante. Projetez une lance faite de sang qui peut transporter les ennemis devant vous. Placez un nuage d'ombre à vos pieds ou à ceux de votre cible. Le nuage explose après quelques secondes, inflige de sérieux dégâts. On va prendre la lance.
voice in my head. If I'm not
Quarantaine,
mad,
non.
it must belong to the one who made me what I am. I must find him to understand what I have become. These people want me dead. I need to leave now.
Here's the leech. Here!
My head's spinning. It's locked, all right.
Oh. Un pieu usé. Les armes de main gauche peuvent être utilisées en appuyant sur la touche Y. Permet des attaques spéciales. Ok.
I'm still in Southwark. I must reach the West End. Go back home.
Appuyez sur A pour mordre un ennemi étourdi. Mordre un ennemi, remplir votre barre de sang.
A strength I never knew I had.
Ok, d'accord. Donc la barre rouge, c'est la barre de sang et ce qui me permet de faire les lances et compagnie. Ok.
This shouldn't be possible. Every sinew, every fiber of my being is afire.
Ça la one shot la lance. Merde.
My strength, my reflexes. I'm not human anymore.
Ok, il n'y a que dalle. Votre roi et votre pays ont besoin de vous. Engagez-vous.
My poor sister. If only I had controlled my need for blood. Mary,
Someone will pay for what happened to you. For what happened to us.
Bah, normalement c'est toi qui devrais payer, mais bon. Là-bas il y a un truc.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
Ah d'accord, il bouffe des rats. Bon écoute. Miam 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 miam.
Despicable. It's locked. The dizziness from the jump. I can now control it.
Miam.
I can't believe I'm doing this. What will London have to say to me?
Encore plus de shit.
I've so many questions unanswered. Another corpse. Have the very streets of London become a mausoleum? The man has been drained of all blood, but I can still smell the scent of it. I follow the scent's trail. Perhaps it will lead me to my assailant.
Ah, j'ai un sens du sorceleur.
Blood. The smell is so strong.
Par contre, c'est vrai que j'ai des nouveaux vêtements parce que là. Même si c'est la nuit, c'est pas les meilleurs vêtements pour traîner dans Londres. Là d'aluminium et de la graisse.
Something dire must have come about. There is no one in sight. Where has everyone gone?
Parce que je détourne le regard lorsqu'il se moque de ma couleur de peau, je me déteste. Parce que je pleure comme une fille quand il m'insulte, je me déteste. Parce que je les insulte comme un garçon quand ils ne sont plus là, je me déteste. Parce que je hais mes parents, je me déteste. Parce que je souris aux clients qui m'appellent Sabrine Avrante, je me déteste. Parce que je n'ai jamais trouvé le courage d'avouer à Tom ce que je ressens, je me déteste. Indice sur les citoyens. Vous avez découvert un indice. Celui-ci révèle un secret sur un citoyen ou une de ses relations. Ouais. En tant que vampire, vous avez besoin de sang humain pour évoluer. La barre de qualité du sang d'un citoyen indique l'expérience que vous gagnez si vous nourrissez de celui-ci. Les indices déverrouillés augmentent la quantité d'expérience. D'accord. Peut-être éviter d'aller là-bas. Du coup, la piste de sang.
According to the blood patterns, that's where the victim was attacked. So that must be the killer's trail.
Vous avez trouvé un nouveau refuge. D'accord. Ok, donc là je peux créer des choses, le coffre, déposer des choses. Il y a des trucs à ramasser dans les refuges. Morceau de poignée commun. Alors, les établis vous permettent de fabriquer des traitements pour soigner les citoyens malades, des sérums pour booster votre métabolisme durant les combats, des améliorations d'armes et des modules pour les personnaliser. Traitement pour la fatigue, traitement pour l'anémie. Ok. Ok, bon, de toute façon pour le moment j'ai pas grand chose. Alors. Ah merde, je dois aller là-bas. Bon.
At last, a little life.
Ah et personne me dit rien. J'ai du sang partout, mais non.
Whoever he may be, the killer recently entered this bar. Maybe some of the locals saw him.
It didn't deserve this.
J'essaie de voir si je peux rien leur piquer avant de leur parler.
This is no place for you. Freewell has several patrols roaming the area.
They do not pursue me.
But they're looking for vampires, and they're most efficient.
They'll not relent until the killer has been identified.
I have a common objective, but I require...
I think someone is eavesdropping.
Are you certain? You might as well come in, whoever you are.
Slowly, vampire. Who are you?
Le pouvoir du Christ.
I mean you no harm, saith the vampire. Present yourself. I need a word. Anyone.
Le petit Jésus est fort, ce lieu.
Well, that's something I can do for you. And who might you be?
I'm not sure that I know anymore.
Might I at least learn the reason of your presence?
That's none of your concern.
Sir, you have entered my room in the middle of the night, pale as a corpse and shaking like a tree. So please, indulge me.
Someone is molesting people. In fact, killing them. Biting them.
The calling card of a vampire. Like you.
Alors, Edgar Swansea. Ok.
I've been hunted down in the streets and attacked. I'm a victim here too.
I believe you.
Then if you are not a vampire, who or what are you?
Dr. Edgar Swansea of the Brotherhood of St. Paul. I'm performing an independent investigation here in an attempt to understand precisely what is going on.
What have you uncovered concerning the murders?
It started a few nights ago. Rumors of violent murders. The docs have always been, shall we say, somewhat unsavory. But this is different.
How different?
A vampire is at work here. Famished. Reckless. It must be brought to ground, and quickly.
I heard another voice, that of a woman. Who were you talking to?
Ridiculous. I've no idea what you're talking about.
Something tells me not to trust you.
Then the feeling is mutual.
And what exactly is this Brotherhood?
Sir, if the name is not familiar to you, then we shall discuss it another time.
Then help me find the culprit.
I may. If you'll first tell me why you opened this door.
I followed a trail. The scent of blood from a recent victim. It led me here.
You thought I was your aggressor. That explains a great deal. We're both chasing the same shadow.
Perhaps. This is all new to me. I'm not even certain what I'm looking for.
You should let me handle this affair. You've no idea what you're up against.
No. I will find the monster. He is mine.
How will you do any better than I? But then let me ask you this. What are your intentions if you find the killer?
I'll end him.
Then I can only wish you good hunting. And pray we shall meet again.
En attendant, je vais te piller.
If Swansea is not my attacker, it means somebody else came here tonight. Someone must know something. Good evening, sir. I wondered if I could ask for your help.
Wow, you look like you need a drink.
Yes. I apologize for my outfit. It's been a long night.
Been there, seen that. Don't worry, Things can only get worse.
Has anybody entered the bar recently?
Can't say. Sorry. I spent the night making love to that gorgeous bottle, see?
This is important, sir. Are you sure no one has come in here in the last few hours?
I don't know and I don't care. This is a free country. People still have the right to come and go, don't they?
What's going on around here? It's like everybody is hiding.
You must be new here. Have you not heard about the murders? Everybody fears the return of the sewer dog.
Who is this sewer dog?
It's the local bogeyman. Convenient answer for every crime that happened for decades. You murdered someone, blame the sewer dog, eh?
You make it sound like it's a fairy tale.
People will always believe in monsters. It's easier than accepting their own darkness. We can all be monsters.
I'll leave you to your bottle then.
My God, sir, you look like Jonah's whale just spat you out of hell. Can I get you a drink?
No, thank you. I'm not thirsty.
Well, grab a chair and get some rest. This is going to be another long night.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
Evening, sir. Can I help you?
I have a few questions for you.
Well, if you must.
What's going on around here? Where is everyone?
Too many dead, sir. First the epidemic, now all these terrible murders.
The murders? What can you say about them?
Bodies found in the streets every morning. Drained of blood. It's just horrible. Some say the sewer dog is back.
The sewer dog? What's that?
No one knows. People have always disappeared around these parts. The ancients say it's the sewer dog coming out to feed. But now he's killing in the streets.
What have you heard about the epidemic?
There's a Spanish flu. Yeah. Killed so many last summer. Thought we'd seen the last of it. Dozens dying every week.
Are the authorities doing anything?
Nothing. There are so many quarantine zones in London now. It's gotten really hard to travel across town.
What is this place?
This is Tom's bar, the Turquoise Turtle. I'm the barmaid here, Sabrina, if you want to know.
Ah, c'est elle, Sabrina.
Are you always open this late at night?
No, it's only since the epidemic started. Tom thought that people may need a safe place to stay.
You don't seem to have much business. Where is everybody?
Well, most people are sleeping right now. And those that are awake tend to avoid going out. What with the murders and all.
I just want to talk. I didn't mean to scare you.
I'm not afraid, sir. It's just I've other customers to take care of.
I only see one customer.
Oh. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I best check on them.
I spoke to Dr. Swansea. He's not the man I'm looking for. Now, I want the truth.
The truth? What do you mean?
I suspect that someone else was here tonight. And I don't think Tom wants to tell me about it.
I'm just the barmaid here, okay? If Tom says you're the only visitor we had, then you're the only visitor we had.
I can feel your fear, madam. Please, tell me what's going on.
It's Will. William Bishop. He came in here earlier tonight and he... Well, I thought he was going to clock someone.
What happened tonight?
He was dead drunk, as usual. But my God, his eyes. His face. He must have caught something awful. He shouted and cried. It was terrible.
Why are you so afraid?
I mean, his skin. His hands. I scrubbed every glass and every chair that he touched. God, I hope it's not contagious.
Tell me about this William Bishop.
Will was a sailor who worked at the cannon factory before he lost that job. A nice bloke, really. He's never been violent. Until tonight.
Why keep it a secret? Why not tell me about it?
Tom's nothing if not loyal. After Will lost his job, he offered him one ear. They used to be good mates. But recently, we all started to get very aggressive.
I see. Thank you for your candor. I'll be sure to talk to Tom.
Uh-huh.
There's gotta be something can be done.
Welcome back. Did you find what you were after?
I can't say I have. Are you sure no one else came into your bar before I arrived?
Hey, I told you, you were the only other stranger I've had.
Mensonge.
Tom, talk to me about the visit from your old friend, William.
Yes, Will came by tonight, but he's not my friend anymore.
Why lie to me if he is not your friend?
I didn't lie. I said you were my only unannounced customer, and that's the truth.
Who is he?
William. Just an old sailor who loves his gin too much. He worked for years at the canning factory before it closed.
Is he dangerous?
Yeah. Like many drunks, he's all bark and no bite. Can barely stand up most of the time.
How was he tonight? Was he different?
Sicker than usual, perhaps. He whined and mumbled about how mean people were to him and how he'd like to talk to me outside, and then he left when I refused.
I need to find him. It's a matter of urgency. Do you know where he is?
You could try his boat. It's up by the North Pier. He sleeps there when he's too drunk to get home.
Please describe him to me.
What'd you expect? He's a tall, sick bastard with a bad rash and torn old clothes. William used to be strong. Now he's a mess.
Thank you, Tom.
If you see him, tell him I don't want him back here unless he cleans up his act, okay?
Damn it.
I hope I live long enough to see them wet food boys get what's coming to them.
Ok. Et ben on va y aller.
Are they stupid or something?
I will get to the bottom of this intrigue. What's been done to me? To this city? The body is still warm. This man has just been drained of blood. This man was armed. He tried to defend himself. This corpse has been dried of its blood, just like the previous victim. Blood and empty gin bottles. This bishop fellow is something of a heavy drinker. What's this? Some sort of note.
Alors, horde de Priwen. Multiples morts dans la zone des docks. Nous pensons qu'un de ces satanés suceurs de sang est le responsable. Trouvez ce monstre et minez-le au plus vite. Attention, selon les dernières informations, ce vampire est extrêmement violent. Restez très prudent en l'approchant. Je sais que nous manquons d'hommes dans cette partie de la ville. Mais n'envoyez pas des bleus enquêter sur cette affaire. Si mon intuition est la bonne, nous avons affaire à un véritable fou furieux qui tue toutes les nuits. Comme toujours, fouillez les endroits abandonnés, comme les vieilles maisons, les sous-sols, les égouts, les entrepôts désaffectés. Détruisez ce suceur de sang, mes frères.
These men, they're a company of professional vampire hunters. There are blood splats on the other side of the canal. I must reach that barge.
Ça c'est bien pratique par contre.
It's locked, all right.
Oh, des balles. Équipez-vous d'une distance.
Ammunition crate. Good. I may need a lot of bullets. I feel like I'm back on the front line again.
Non, bien. Certains zombies sont résistants à certains types de dégâts. Forte résistance. D'accord, donc le rouge faut éviter. Résistance moyenne, c'est au corps à corps. D'accord. Donc lui, c'est plus corps à corps. Oh, une balle de chevrotine.
Sir, step away!
We won't see any of these bastards back here again.
Look lively! It's on to us! Look at it! Going up like tingling! There's one of them vermin!
Allez, tiens, on va manger du rat. Par contre, comment tu fais pour enlever... Ah, peut-être en allant te coucher pour enlever la santé qui nous a été retirée.
Fresh blood. The whole building reeks of it. The scent is so strong it makes me dizzy. This place reeks of bloodshed.
Arme à deux mains. Équipez-vous d'une arme à deux mains. La faux permet de parer une attaque tout en infligeant des dégâts d'étourdissement. Ah, je vais peut-être prendre ça au lieu de... Non.
This creature is bedeviled. I must put it down.
Ah, il est pas mort.
William, please, stop.
Attendez, je récupère mes shillings.
Let me go. William was an honorable man. I could have saved him.
Mr. Hampton, are you in there?
I knew him well, another lost soul, a kindred spirit.
Sir, listen to the sound of my voice. I'm a doctor. You're suffering from shock.
I must return to my flock. They'll stray without me.
Remember, certain skulls are every bit as resistant as we are.
Who are you? What do you mean by Skal?
You truly are a newborn. I should have realized.
Wait. You are the woman from the bar. Are you... like me? Can you help me?
I believe, sir, I already have.
By George and the Saints, you've solved the mystery of these terrible murders. Patience, good fellows, I've come to offer help. Just give me a moment to secure my boat. We can leave this awful place.
William was not the evil man they claimed. He was just taken by the thirst. He needed his drink.
This man requires medical attention. We'll see he gets to the nearest hospital.
No, please, I must tend to my fold. My flock needs me.
There, sir. Go with the good Dr. Swansea. He's resourceful, and I'm sure he'll take good care of you.
You'd best come as well. The sun is soon to rise, and you'll need a place to rest.
I just need a moment. If I can learn something about what has happened to William, I'll be a step closer to understanding what happened to me. This poor creature can't be my maker. Could it be some subspecies of vampire? I must find a place to analyze the blood. Where are we headed?
We're on our way to the Pembroke Hospital. It's just across the canal. They'll have a bed for poor Mr. Hampton.
William was... what manner of creature was he?
Predator, prey, villain, and victim. Who can say? The important thing is that he's been stopped.
Duly noted. And the woman? What... who is she?
What woman?
Oh, don't play me for a fool. You used me to locate that skull. You must know who she is.
And I thought you a gentleman. You shouldn't talk about a lady behind her back, but I will tell you she values her privacy. Were London as peaceful as she appears from the middle of the canal? If only that were the reality of the situation.
To be honest, I've always tried to avoid this part of town.
Pembroke Hospital is the last bastion between the rest of London and the epidemic. The flu has decimated the East End and the war still rages. Welcome to the front lines of a plague.
This is where you work, Dr. Swansea?
I am the administrator of Pembroke Hospital.
I thought you were here in service of your mysterious order, the Brotherhood of...
Of St. Paul's Stole, yes. But first and foremost, I'm a man of science. A physician, like yourself, Dr. Reed.
How do you know who I am?
No need for modesty. You are Dr. Jonathan Reed. A surgeon of some caliber and renown, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct, sir.
I knew it! I had my suspicions. But when you took the blood sample from the corpse of poor William, I was certain. Dr. Reed. Marvelous.
Have we met?
I attended 3 of your seminars before the war. I have the utmost admiration for your research. And what a turn of fate. England's most esteemed blood specialist returns to London a vampire.
That word, again. From a so-called man of science.
I understand. Traditionally, the role of science is to refute myth, but when myth walks among us, the Brotherhood of St. Paul has dedicated its purpose to their study. There's so much for you to learn.
Of that, you are right.
Well, then let me be blunt. Join my staff at Pembroke Hospital. As a physician. I suspect you'll not find a better post of employment to contemplate your predicament.
This is sudden. I was returning home to see my sickly mother. But alas, that was before contracting this... affliction.
Dr. Reed, take a moment to consider. The post would be for the night shift, providing a good explanation for your absence during daylight hours. You'll be adequately reimbursed, and have a place to hide. I even had the forethought to bring some clean clothes. So, what do you say?
It seems I have little choice, but yours is a generous offer, so I thank you.
Brilliant! Oh, Jonathan, this is one for the book, and the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Dr. Swansea, thank goodness. I was beginning to be concerned.
Worry no more, Nurse Crane, for I bring good news.
Oh, Doctor, what a night. We lost 2 more patients. Nurse Scow said she couldn't take it anymore and resigned.
Yes, well, I'll make a new rota in the morning. In the meantime, find a good bed for Mr. Hampton. Be sure to pay attention to his needs.
Of course, Doctor.
Ah, ça tombe bien, il y a 2 patients morts, donc il y a 2,
Yes, Doctor.
2 lits
Dr.
disponibles.
Reed here has just returned from the front. He served King and Country and will be joining us here at Pembroke. We're very lucky to have gained a surgeon of his talent, and one so experienced in blood transfusions.
That is good news indeed, Doctor.
Oh, yes. Here at Pembroke, it's not what we have, but what we haven't. It's only thanks to Nurse Crane and the staff that our ship doesn't sink. If you have any questions, just ask her.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Your assistance is required, Dr. Swansea, immediately.
Welcome aboard, Jonathan. We'll catch up after my rounds. Coming, Nurse Crane. I'm coming.
Oh là là. Il ressemble un peu à Sherlock Holmes. Ok.
Come on, you bastard! You can do better than that. Nah, it's my turn.
Rotten or pristine, each heart contains the seed of life. Drink at this river, dry it all.
Oh, come on, you bastard! I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
All right, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Ok. Afin de boire du sang de poing, vous devez d'abord le charmer, puis l'attirer vers un lieu à l'abri des regards. Votre niveau de charme doit être supérieur ou égal à la résistance du citoyen.
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
Appuyez sur A ou B. Alors, étreindre clé pour faire gagner énormément d'expérience, ça aura des conséquences sur la suite de l'aventure.
No more. Not tonight. Not like this. I will not take another life.
Et du coup, il continue à pisser le sang. C'est pas grave.
It is wise for the huntsman to sometimes let his prey go. But no famished hunter can run for long.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions first. And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again.
Second floor.
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Putain, hôpital complet, quoi.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon.
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Ah bon?
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover, to hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
No, it was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's mind, you see?
Ok. Bon.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark.
Au règne de l'ennemi. Elvira, on va te laisser tranquille.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
Oh putain, mais il y a plein de gens. Oh la vache. Bon.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
How close are you to Miss Hallcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of my blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotar syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Ok.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Damn. The pain. It's here again.
Toi.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Mais du coup, t'es obligé d'agiter la croix, en fait, comme l'avait fait le Toubib avec moi.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke. Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Ok, c'est qui lui? Je ne sais pas qui c'est.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
Damn. The pain. It's here again.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Bon, c'est pas très sympa.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Je vais pas la jouer agressif. Oh, je fais mal lui parler, tiens.
Aren't you too old for such jealousy? It really won't do you any good, you know.
Don't be ridiculous, Dr. Reed. A simple glance is enough for me to know you have nothing for me to envy.
Bon, moi j'ai une belle veste.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
Oui, pour l'amour du
And what
Chili.
exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Tu mérites même pas que je te suce ton sang. Putain, mais il y en a des gens à qui parler. Bon, ma petite dame.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
C'est dangereuse, madame.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Ah ouais, elle a fait payer.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Ok, d'accord. Donc ça c'est bon. Et ça, on n'a rien.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Bon alors, Mortimer.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No.
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
On peut pas lui donner une ardoise avec une craie.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful
I'll let you get some rest then.
Don't waste your time with me.
Bon.
What can I do for you, Doctor?
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
J'ai cru que c'était une autre. Oula. Oula. Monsieur, vous souffrez de téléportation impromptue. Mes chers enfants, je suis désolé de ne pas pu vous avoir écrit avant, mais écrire me fait un mal de chien. Ne vous inquiétez pas, papa va sortir de l'hôpital dès que les médecins auront soigné son bras. D'ici là, si jamais vous avez besoin de quoi que ce soit, allez voir Mr. Chadwick et dites-lui que vous êtes les enfants d'Harvey Fiddick. Vous vous souvenez de Robert Chadwick? C'est le grand moustachu qui m'a aidé à réparer la porte de la maison au printemps dernier. Allez le voir et demandez-lui un peu d'argent. Il ne pourra pas vous le refuser. Je suis désolé de ne plus être en état de travailler pour l'instant. Je trouverai une solution dès que je serai sorti. Ne vous en faites pas, tout ira bien dès que papa aura récupéré un bras aussi fort qu'avant. Dès que les médecins auront fait ce qu'il faut, je...
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
On passe du hater au fan.
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Ah.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Flatterie ne vous mènera nulle part. Ah, c'est agréable de se faire lécher le fion.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
Par contre, j'ai peur qu'il nous fasse une belle connerie, lui. Mais bon, on va le surveiller quand même.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time. What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with
Tell me more.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him? Or to prove your point?
Good question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Bon, pour le moment, c'est tout.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Oh, sweet girl.
Salut du coup, Harvey.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Oh, je peux le tuer. En bonne santé, oui.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give
Je sais
up
pas
on
trop
my
pourquoi,
children.
quand tu parles d'un
Both need me
indice,
living.
ils ont mis cette espèce d'écho. Je
She
vois pas
died
trop
in
l'intérêt.
1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids. We never found her body.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Bon.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick.
Sweet girl. Reads me like a book.
Du coup, à l'étage. Parce que je parle, mais...
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet.
Ah oui, c'est toi qui fais payer les
And I'm Dr.
livres.
Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
You're right. When dealing with such a terrible disease, one must remain humble. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try our best.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Ah, on peut lui demander sur le fait qu'elle fasse pas cette garce. Enfin. Bon, on va peut-être aller enfin à l'étage. Swansea. Alors, Thomas Elwood. Donc, Thomas Elwood, c'est le mec qui est défiguré. Remarque, le visage du patient a été sévèrement brûlé et défiguré par une bombe durant la guerre. Malgré l'utilisation de puissants sédatifs, il affirme endurer régulièrement de violentes douleurs. Comme si les flammes étaient toujours en train de bouger sous sa peau, l'examen des tissus ne montre aucune trace d'inflammation, d'infection ou de gonflement. Les cicatrices sont propres et sans cas de dommages nerveux persistants. Le patient ne cesse jamais de se tenir responsable de sa défiguration. Est-ce un cas de culpabilité du survivant? Les douleurs fantômes se manifestent comme une punition pour ne pas être mort avec ses camarades. Alors attends, du coup, quand on a un nouvel indice, ça veut dire qu'il faut leur reparler ou pas? Juste aller voir.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Doc.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
You know you can't hide forever. One day you'll have to face your loved ones. Until that day, you have no chance of real recovery.
My friends all died in the trenches. It's shameful enough to be alive with these stupid scars. I don't want my children to see me like this.
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
D'accord.
You told me before you don't want your children to see you like this. Do you have any other family?
My sister Agatha has raised me nippers since their mother died. Don't want them to look at me like this.
Your sister's not a child. I'm sure she has nothing but respect for a wounded soldier, and you are her brother.
You don't know my sister Agatha. She may be young, but she's all discipline and morality. If she ever found out what really happened...
She doesn't have to know.
She's a sly one, my sister. One day she'll find out the truth and knock 7 bells out of me. Nah. I'm better off here.
How could children despise their father injured in the war?
What do you think? They saw me. Once. My poor angels left the room crying. They keep on having nightmares every week, my sister told me.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Damn. The pain.
J'avais pas découvert un truc sur elle aussi.
Good evening, Miss.
Ah oui.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond of some sort. We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I find interesting.
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire doctor.
Sûr, bien sûr.
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else? I'm not that cruel, Doctor.
I'll leave you.
Bon, on va enfin aller dans mon bureau.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin.
Est-ce que j'ai des trucs à choper?
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Bon, on va pioncer un petit peu. Alors, jauge de santé, morsure. Il y a beaucoup de choses. Niveau 6 requis, je suis que niveau 3. Voilà, frais comme un gardon. Alors. Restore immédiatement 300 points de vie, plus 150 points de vie sur 15 secondes. D'accord. Il me faut encore un morceau de poignée commun. Okay.
William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now. If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Alors, cher Jonathan, j'ai demandé à la firme quelqu'un de vous préparer un bureau au premier étage. Vous excusez sa décoration plutôt austère, mais le machin hospital n'est pas vraiment le Ritz. On s'en va encore. Ok, bon, il y a l'autre là qui m'emmerde. Qu'est-ce qu'elle veut?
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse.
Alors par là-bas.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Alors comment tu les utilises ces trucs là? Parce que là j'ai pris cher. Actif sérum. Même j'en ai pas. On va retourner à la porte. Alors, tartre ferreux, de la quinine et du machin de sodium.
Balls of Mars, fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful.
Ok. Système de combat, je suis pas hyper fan. Ah non, ils m'ont déjà compté, ok. Putain!
Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. I cannot enter.
Finalement, c'est peut-être l'arme qui va pas. Alors, main gauche. je peux pas l'équiper.
This key will surely grant me access to the basement.
Ok. Par contre, comment je fais pour me déséquiper de ça là? Alors, comment elle marche?
These scowls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not after blood.
Putain, la scie, c'est pas mal. Investigation locale. Une nouvelle enquête sur les citoyens est disponible. C'est ici que vous pouvez consulter les enquêtes sur les citoyens triées par quartier. Vous pouvez débarrer une... Samuel Connor, il est mort.
Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this. It's locked.
Alors, ça va être une nouvelle arme à main gauche. Équipez-la directement. Équipez-la et appuyez sur le progrès. Oh! Alors, attends.
It's locked, all right.
Alors moi par contre je sais toujours pas comment prendre la deuxième arme. Oh putain, je recommence de là en plus. Bon. Parce que là il me dit flèche du bas. Ouais d'accord, mais...
Scowls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. Sodium hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage.
Du coup, est-ce que je peux améliorer les trucs? Alors, diminue la consommation d'endurance de 10%. Absorbe des points de sang lorsque l'arme touche la cible. Ça fait 45, comme ça fait 65. Ok.
It's locked.
Ah non, toi, ici ils me l'ont compté. Je t'avais pas vu, toi. Oh, donc c'est bien cet étage. Pour mauvaise cible là, j'arrive pas à trouver. Ah, peut-être qu'il fallait la vision.
It's locked, all right.
Not now.
Ah, c'est tout. Ah, je pensais pouvoir stocker d'autres choses. Ok. Je peux rien faire d'autre. Si je peux en faire un deuxième au cas où. Et du coup, sérum de régénération léger. Ok.
Finally, you've returned, Doctor. Did you find anything of value?
Yes, nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor. Now, this patient here needs immediate treatment.
Duty calls. When the storm has passed, I'll show you how to mix the remedy yourself with the same basic ingredients.
Many thanks, Doctor. When you've finished, you ought to report to Dr. Swansea in his office. He's been looking for you. Seemed pressing.
La maladie Vampyr qui a été distance soignée avec les bons médicaments. Parlez au patient dans la pièce située derrière Dorothy pour voir son état. Ah oui, bah c'est lui.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Appuyez sur RB pour voir l'état de santé.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
I will see you later. I have to go now, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr.
I'm okay.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
N'oubliez pas que le sang des citoyens vous apporte énormément d'expérience. Les citoyens, faites le bon choix. Peut-être essayer de faire sans... comment dire, sans boire quelqu'un.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea. But my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
There is an absurd poetry to my situation. Physician, heal thyself.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and Now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
I'm not some doe-eyed student, Edgar. I understand we both have something to gain from this relationship.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Lettre de mise à regard. Sir Dr. Swansea, je dois vous informer de mes plus sérieuses réserves concernant le docteur Toro Strickland et de son traitement d'Harvey Phillick. Monsieur Phillick a été hospitalisé suite à une grave blessure subie au travail. Si cette blessure n'est pas traitée comme il se doit, il pourrait perdre l'usage de son bras à tout jamais. Dr. Strickland prétend qu'une nouvelle procédure chirurgicale pourrait entièrement sauver le bras du patient. Je pense quant à moi qu'elle pourrait également faire empirer son état si jamais il y avait des complications. Notre jeune collègue est un chirurgien plein de courage et d'audace qui pourrait devenir un très grand professionnel dans les années à venir, mais pour l'instant il manque d'expérience pour effectuer une procédure aussi risquée soit-elle. Ai-je besoin de vous rappeler les erreurs qu'il a commises dans le passé? Étant donné que le docteur Strickland refuse de m'écouter, je suggère avec véhémence de lui interdire d'effectuer ce genre d'opération expérimentale. On ira parler à Strickland. Rakesh Shadana. Docteur Swansea, c'est avec plaisir que je m'occuperai de la morgue temporaire dès l'instant où elle sera ouverte. Comme je l'ai déjà dit, j'ai été médecin durant la guerre, c'est avec plaisir que je servirai mon pays une fois de plus. Je me rends bien compte... Nanana. Ok. Lui, on l'a pas encore rencontré, je crois. Gare. On va aller voir Strickland. Alors, il est où?
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate.
Tiens, moi, lui, on peut lui parler.
It's locked, all right. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor, too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Uh-huh. Alors.
Have you heard of someone blackmailing people in the hospital?
Pardon me, sir, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oula.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Tell me the truth about your appointment as a medic during the war, Rakesh.
The regiment administration appointed me by mistake. I had to learn the job on the spot, sir. Very hard, sir, but I rose to the challenge.
Do you realize how many soldiers died because of that decision? You should have refused.
Yes, sir. I swear I did, sir. But no one listened. When the first wounded arrived, I had to do what I could.
It is an unbelievable story, Mr. Chidana.
It was a time beyond belief, Dr. Reed. But I'm happy not to deal with the wounded. I prefer caring for the dead now.
You can't impersonate a doctor. You can't improvise a medical education. People could die at your hands.
You're absolutely right, sir. But as a field surgeon, it was more like being a butcher.
Do you believe you have really helped these people?
My ratings were within the averages of the regiment. I saved lives, Dr. Reed. Does that not say enough about triage and war surgery?
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Ok.
Please
Alors.
show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
Moi, qu'est-ce que je peux lui vendre? J'ai pas de camelote. Tout ça, je vais le garder. Je peux pas lui vendre d'armes. Alors. J'ai combien? 105. Codéine. Formule énigmatique. Allez. De l'opium. Oh, ils vendent pas grand chose en fait. Ok, sympa. Du coup. J'ai enfin trouvé l'argent que le chauffeur de l'ambulance a demandé pour t'amener à l'hôpital. Je m'occupe de tout, alors concentre-toi simplement sur le fait d'aller mieux. J'ai demandé à nos voisins, ils m'ont expliqué ce que Monsieur Hawks était une sorte d'escroc honnête. Ok. Il demande de l'argent en échange d'un lit, mais une fois payé, ce lit est garanti. Je suis désolé d'avoir refusé de payer au départ, et je comprends désormais que la chose la plus importante est que tu guérisses vite. Le Pembroke Hospital est apparemment un bon établissement malgré le comportement de ces Milton Hawks. Je te promets que tout ira bien maintenant, je te verrai dans ton lit tout propre le plus vite possible, avec tout mon amour, Nikolai. Ouais, ce serait bien qu'on le rencontre, ce cher Milton. Alors. Ah tiens, toi, je devais te parler.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Tell me, Thoreau, what's the real cause of your dislike for Dr. Ackroyd?
He refuses to admit that your blood transfusion technique is the only way to save Mr. Fiddick. I'm convinced we must use it.
What Dr. Ackroyd really said is that you lack the skill to perform this operation efficiently. Is there anything you have to say about this?
It's a false conceit. Dr. Ackroyd secretly envies your reputation. His jealousy blinds him. I'm not the real target here.
Ouais, j'ai bien fait de me douter de lui, hein.
Have you heard any talk of blackmail going on in the hospital?
If you're running some official inquiry, you had better question the patients. They know more than the staff, especially old Miss Jones.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Là-bas, il y a deux inconnus. Béatrice, elle, on s'en fout. Harvey, Rakesh.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen.
Madame.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really?
Putain, elle a vraiment la gueule de l'infirmière.
Hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Mais...
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippins. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Corcoran. Okay.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Goodbye, nurse. Call...
Ok. Alors ici. Ah, Milton.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money, and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin color that bothers you?
J'ai rien dit.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
Oh, sympa. Alors... Bon, déjà, question.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Qu'est-ce que je peux te vendre? Toujours rien. Fusil de Milton. Des bas, chevrotine. Morceau de poignet commun. Hop. Morceau de gâchette commune. Éclat, graisse. Ok.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor.
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in this hospital?
There are a lot of secrets round here. I'm not surprised someone tried to make money from them.
What kind of secrets?
I'm not in the gossip business, Dr. Reed. If you want to know more, you better talk to Harriet Jones. She's the oldest patient here.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Ah, en fait, j'avais complètement loupé cet endroit et du coup j'aurais pu lui parler avant. Bon, c'est pas grave.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Alors, il nous manque un indice.
Tell me why you're extorting money from some of the patients here.
If a patient wants a bed, he'll have to pay me a little fee. That's all.
Where did you get the idea for such an immoral scam?
Funny you should ask. The first time it was from a patient who bribed me to get a bed. It's only then I realized I could make a fortune.
Admit it. Nurse Hawkins is more than your lover. She's also your partner in crime.
Of course she is. How else could I tell which bed is free? I need to know that.
Have you no shame?
Don't you see this city is crumbling down? Today people are ready to pay to get a hospital bed. Tomorrow we may be fighting for food.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Moi en tout cas je vois pas de mal.
Goodbye, Milton.
Ok, bon c'est pas si sac à merde que ça. Ah, là-bas ça doit être la... Non, c'est pas elle. La fameuse Harriet. Alors, attends, on va lui parler avant. Ah bah tiens, Pipa.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening.
Pippa, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes? Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Milton cheats patients out of their money at this hospital, Pippa. Are you his accomplice?
Yes, I am.
Is this your definition of being useful? By abusing the sick and poor?
No. It is my definition of getting out of this useless life once and for all.
Why do you do it?
Why not? Most of the sick who paid for a bed are already dead, or will be soon. Don't you see the futility of all this?
In your position, I would suggest a more elaborate defense. Cynicism will not save you.
This isn't cynicism, it's realism. You still need me, Dr. Reed, and you know it.
Whose idea was it?
What difference does it make? We did it together, and I'm guilty as charged.
Answer my question.
It was my idea first, even though Milton would say it was his, to protect me.
Pourquoi je ne suis pas étonné? Allez.
Goodbye, nurse.
Sac à merde. Bref. Sean... Thomas... Là-bas.
It's locked.
Comment je peux faire pour lui parler à elle? Bon, pour le moment, je peux pas aller voir la vieille.
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. We're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a the lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
Apologies. You've taken me by surprise. I'm very happy to see you.
The pleasure is mine, Doctor.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Have any of the patients given you trouble?
These poor souls have so little left to live for. I do my best to ease their pain.
Ouais, j'ai un peu un doute, hein.
I gather you have found an arrangement satisfying both ethical and corporal concerns.
I was brought up not to snigger at my own jokes, Dr. Reed.
Pardon my boldness, Your Ladyship, but I have questions concerning this condition we share.
As a newborn, your hunger for answers is rivaled only by your thirst for blood. But the questions need wait.
I'm a scientist. My trade is in the deciphering of mysteries, and I need information to feed my mind.
I will gladly answer every question you have, but first, prove yourself capable of resolving my predicament without eating the culprit.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
What are your expectations? Please be precise.
As the newly appointed surgeon of this hospital, you are in an excellent position to ask innocent questions and deftly learn the identity of my blackmailer.
Who would be so foolish as to threaten you? A kindred
Coucou Rimsad, comment tu vas?
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt it, a vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money. My suspicions lean toward a patient or their family.
If we're dealing with an ordinary criminal, surely you've the means to deal with it yourself, if I may.
As immortal tradition doth
Bah
dictate,
moi pareil, ça va pas trop mal.
fangs and hypnotic eyes
Bon, par
ablaze,
contre je suis désolé mais t'arrives vers la fin.
run like a river. That's what I hope to avoid. Violence has a tendency to spiral out of control.
Là j'ai commencé Vampyr aujourd'hui, alors c'est sympa mais bon ça fait que quoi 3 heures que là que j'ai commencé mais c'est sympa mais pour le moment sans plus quoi. Il y a beaucoup de dialogue et tout, enfin j'ai l'impression en fait j'ai parlé genre à tout le personnel de l'hôpital, j'ai pas l'impression que c'est plus utile que ça quoi. Oh non, bah y a pas de souci, hein. Tu viens quand tu veux et quand tu peux.
Please continue. Every detail is essential. I'm your man.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.
Sans se mentir, on va dire pas, je pense que je le ferai de mon côté. Ah bah j'espère que je vais pas trop te spoiler alors. Enfin ça se trouve il y a plusieurs moyens de faire ou de finir le jeu. Alors on va aller voir la vieille commère.
My blood and soul, they belong to you now.
The life running in your veins. This dead flesh needs it.
Oh, please spare me, Dark Queen. Spare your obedient slave.
Ok. Le RP sexuel c'est à l'étage, messieurs dames. Merci. Alors, grand-mère, apparemment tu sais tout, tu vois tout, tu es omnisciente. Allez, balance.
What is this? Who are you? Get out of my room.
There's no need for alarm.
Je suis ton petit-fils.
The new surgeon.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say? I don't want some bumbling intern. Where's Dr. Swansea?
Alors, soit je la joue en mode allez madame on se calme, soit flic direct, soit la vieille tu vas te calmer. mais moi aussi, bah, déjà le fait que ce soit Dontnod qu'il le fasse ça m'attire parce que quand il est sorti en plus c'était juste après les Life is Strange, je me suis dit oh ça peut être cool. Et puis les jeux de vampires c'est toujours sympa. Mais pour le moment c'est en termes sympa sans plus. Taisez-vous. Taisez-vous. Allez on va la jouer à Alain Fickencrow.
If you continue shouting, I'll have you restrained and gagged. Understood?
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here? You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones?
Voilà.
Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any patient, nurse or doctor. I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor soul's vein.
Elle a dit le C-word. Hein. Donc ce jeu n'a pas été fait aux États-Unis. Finalement, je l'aime bien, mémé. Alors, les deux questions sont très connes. Aimez-vous les commérages? C'est une grand-mère. Donc oui. Et êtes-vous le maître chanteur? Paraît un peu débile. Mais bon, on va les demander pour le principe.
If I didn't know better, Miss Jones, I'd be inclined to say you enjoy this type of idle gossip.
God's honest truth, Doctor. It's just the way it is here. Most of these bitches would let you freeze to death before getting you a blanket.
Puis c'est tellement bon de dire de la merde dans le dos des gens.
You seem to know more about the goings-on here than anyone else. Beware, Miss Jones, in case suspicion should fall on you.
That's it. Blame the old and infirm. I see those little bitches' greedy little eyes. Just waiting for me to pop off they are.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical error.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have
Mémé, elle est en roue libre.
I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner.
On a retrouvé une des vampes.
This is your business, Doctor, not mine. But I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss
Bon,
Jones.
ça on le sait déjà, ça.
You've given me something to go on. See you on the next round.
Comme je disais la dernière... Oh, ah non. Allez, hop. Comme je disais la dernière fois, j'espère que ne va pas s'enfermer. Ouais, bah, le problème, c'est que j'ai l'impression que les Life is Strange Like marchent mieux pour eux que les jeux comme Remember Me à Vampyr, quoi. Parce que je sais que Vampyr, il avait eu un accueil assez mitigé. Remember Me, je m'en souviens pas, mais tu vois, Remember Me, il est bon, mais il n'y a pas grand monde, c'est pas un jeu très connu. Donc, ah, attends, il y avait un papier qui brille là. Dégage! Allez. Ah, ok. Alors, elle est où, Pippa Middleton? Lui, on doit lui parler. Ah, attends, il y a un truc là. J'en ai assez de tes conneries, Clay. Qu'est-ce que t'as foutu? Tous les docs ne parlent que de ça, soit disant que mon mari vient de massacrer un stupide gamin. Combien de fois je t'ai dit de compter jusqu'à 20 avant de sortir ton surin? Comment tu veux qu'on continue à faire des affaires, à demander le respect si tu passes ton temps à buter les gens qui t'énervent? Ah, j'ai un bot. J'ai un bot. Putain, ça faisait longtemps ça. Voilà. Par-dessus le marché, il paraît que la famille du gamin te cherche et qu'il y a même un qui a juré de se venger. Ne rentre pas à la maison ce soir, j'ai vu des gars bizarres patrouiller les rues. C'est peut-être une milice communiste ou un truc comme ça venu pour t'arrêter, alors plante-toi pendant quelques jours. Et c'est l'hôpital ou bien Whitechapel. Profites-en pour ton utile pour une fois dans ta vie. Et vois si tu peux y régler une affaire ou deux tant que t'y es. Je t'enverrai un de nos gars te chercher dès que la situation sera calmée. Edwin. Ah ouais, non mais bah, là en ce moment ça s'est calmé, mais pendant un certain temps, genre, des boîtes comme ça, mais j'en avais plein. Ah mais c'est clair. Il est quelle heure? 38, allez, on peut lui parler encore.
Good evening, Mr. Cox.
Dr. Reed.
Monsieur Cox Destroyer.
And why is that?
Alors lui ça aurait pu être ma première victime, mais je me suis dit je vais la jouer en mode parangon. Donc je vais être un vampire vegan.
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in the hospital?
Blackmail? That's not my style. Too risky. A black market, though. Now that's where the money is.
Do you ever think about that poor fellow I saw you push in the water?
The wound he gave me will make sure I don't forget him.
Et en parlant de bot, je crois que le exploiter Twitch, là, c'est un bot qui m'a suivi parce que c'est bizarre.
That man was determined to murder you. You almost died.
What a surprise. The first time I met him, he nearly shit himself. Fucking coward. Well, I guess revenge gives you balls.
What did he want? Revenge?
Bon accueil auprès du joueur. Après, oui, niveau vente, ça n'a pas été un carton niveau vente. Même si sur la durée, ça n'a pas été une catastrophe. D'accord. Ah merde, qu'est-ce qu'il a dit? Oh, on va l'envoyer chier.
You're a monster, Mr. Cox. An ungrateful and disgusting man.
I'm the toughest bastard you'll ever meet, Dr. Reed. And I don't give a fuck what you think of me.
How is your hospitalization going, Mr. Cox?
This is a shitty place with shitty staff.
Ouais, mais parce que, contrairement à Remember Me, Vampyr est venu après les Life is Strange, donc il y avait la réputation de Note. Mais après, l'accueil sur le jeu en lui-même, je sais qu'il a pas été ouf.
What's wrong with the Pembroke staff?
That bastard you sent to bring me here, Milton. I thought he was going to break all my bones before.
Mais bon, tu vois, j'avais fait Tell Me Why là en fin d'année, qui est un Life is Strange-like, et j'ai pas plus aimé que ça. Hein.
Pretty brunette, tough attitude, all like that.
What's wrong with the hospital?
Come on, Dr. Reed. The place is a dump. Smelly, sad, and dirty.
But you're alive thanks to the efforts and dedication of the staff here, aren't you?
What are you expecting, a medal? I thought that saving lives was just part of the job.
J'aurais dû te bouffer, toi.
Unsatisfactory profession at this time, I'm sure.
Connard. Enfin.
What can you tell me about your marriage, Clay?
Marriage is the sweetest cage, they say. Well, I found myself locked in one with a wild animal.
You mean your wife keeps you on your toes?
No, I mean we both have claws and we both love to bite.
How long do you think you can escape the law, Clay?
I know this city like the back of my hand.
Alors vraiment qu'on m'explique l'intérêt de mettre cet écho quand il parle des indices. Parle-moi de ton mariage.
We can't escape the consequences of our actions. The past catches up with us in the end.
I ain't afraid of death. I don't hide who I am. I live my life honestly, which is more than I can say for most folks.
And who are you then?
I'm the leader of the Wet Boot Boys. One day I'll leave this shitty place and punch in the face all who thought I would not come back.
C'est pour le dialogue que j'aime. Il a dit qu'il avait tué le frère de son rival, qu'il a essayé de lui rendre l'appareil. D'accord. Bon, de toute façon, c'est un con et j'ai envie de l'envoyer chier.
Am I right to assume your wife's letter pissed you off, Clay?
I was so mad.
Parce que bon, alors, c'est pas un énorme spoil, hein, ça arrive au début du jeu. Mais en fait, le jeu te dit que tu peux boire. En gros, lui, je pouvais le tuer en buvant son sang, quoi. Et c'est soit tu. Et je peux même le faire d'ailleurs encore. Et c'est en gros, soit tu le fais et tu gagnes beaucoup d'expérience, mais ça peut avoir des répercussions sur la suite de ton jeu, soit tu le fais pas, quoi. Et moi je l'ai pas fait, donc je pense que je vais essayer de faire le jeu sans boulotter quelqu'un. Mais c'est pas une raison pour que je lui parle pas mal. C'est comme la vieille. Je vais pas te manger, mais je vais te mal te parler.
We all have our flaws, Doc. Mine's to have my weapon of choice for when the really dirty business comes around.
Do you want it back?
I don't need it here, but if you'd be kind enough to bring it to me, I'd be really grateful.
A grateful Clay Cox? I might just find your knife and bring it back to you to see that happen.
I can give you directions, but I'll be surprised if you manage to find it. My hideout isn't meant to be found easily.
I'll leave you.
Ouais, écoute, si je le trouve, pourquoi pas.
I've never seen so many people dying at the same time.
Alors, je devais parler à des infirmières.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Doc.
Donc elle se tape à un brancardier qui fait payer des lits aux patients. Mais elle est dans la combine aussi. Et c'est même elle qui a eu l'idée. Lol.
What can you tell me about the strange man visiting one of the nurses during her shift?
Let me guess. You spoke with that old shrew, Harriet Jones. Do not pay attention to her, Doctor. She's full of fanciful tales.
Ça dépend, hein, ça dépend. Moi j'aurais plus tendance à croire une mémé qui sait tout. Hein. Sympa comme ça. Ouais, c'est clair, c'est clair. Comme ça, bah, si toi de ton côté tu veux te la jouer, je mange tout le monde. Tu seras pas trop spoilé. Elle aurait pu dire la vérité.
She could have been telling the truth about the mysterious man.
That old witch will end up in hell soon enough. Who cares if the nurse finds some happiness where she can?
No matter how you feel about her, Miss Jones deserves our help.
Who says I don't care for her? Hate is what keeps that old crone alive.
Ok.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Alors, il me reste encore 2 infirmières. Je ferai que sur ceux qui me tapent sur le plus de système. Ah bah il y a déjà lui, il y a elle aussi. Non, après t'en as certains, ils sont sympas, mais... alors... c'est les docteurs, il me faut les infirmières. C'est fermé. Ah oui, mais attends, j'ai mon pouvoir. Connu, là-bas c'est qui? Oula. Où est-ce qu'elles sont? Elle, c'est une femme qui se prend pour un vampire. Ça, c'est la vieille. Ah tiens, docteur... putain, il y a trop de gens. Bon, on va parler à lui et ce sera la fin pour aujourd'hui. Je l'ai pas encore rencontré.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before.
Ça c'est pas mal, tu peux changer aussi la caméra pendant les dialogues.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his
Voilà,
research
c'est un peu
about
bien.
coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
Docteur Corcoran, putain c'est la première fois que j'entends ce prénom.
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in this hospital?
I have no time for such triviality, my dear colleague. We're here to save lives.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's not exactly the best situation in London either. I can't have expected this hospital to be prepared for what was to come.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Ouh. Ouh là 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 là. Ouh la phrase qui passerait pas en 2021. Oh, oh, oh. La place de la femme, c'est à l'infirmerie. Parce que quand la femme elle est pas infirmière, il y a des ordres. Ah putain.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr.
Ouais, ils font chier. Il y a que la vieille qui va me donner ma dose de commérage.
To keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Attends, on va lui parler de comment c'est Brannigan.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Ouais, donc il va se la saucer, quoi. Il veut saucer l'infirmière. Ok, bon bah j'ai rien trouvé pour moi. En 2021, je pense qu'ils auraient mis cette réplique. Oui, non, mais c'est clair. Pour l'époque, ce qu'il dit là, ça aurait été... Oh bah oui, bah il a tout à fait raison de ça, machin, mais... Et oui, certaines personnes ont encore cette idée-là, mais... c'est beaucoup plus rare maintenant. Bah tiens, Brannigan.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Why does Dr. Tippett's claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Écoute. Donc ça, on lui avait déjà demandé. Bon, ça, je pense que ça sert à rien, on va lui demander quand même.
The people who work here all come from very different backgrounds, Doctor. Just like the patients.
Have you seen a strange man visiting any of the nurses here?
I've never heard of such a thing, Doctor.
Okay.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Et il me manque une infirmière. Dorothy. Bon, on peut aller voir la dernière infirmière, elle est juste là. Espionner. Ah, elle parle à quelqu'un.
You're sure you don't come back with me?
Nah, I have to see someone at the hospital.
Be careful. You look so bad they may keep you as a patient.
Fuck 'em. I don't like hospitals or doctors.
Well then, when you go back to Whitechapel, you may find this useful.
What is it?
A pass for a free medical exam by the best nurse available. Just read it.
I don't read well, but thank you.
C'est ce que j'ai dire, il a pas l'air de savoir lire, le mec. Bon, je pense que ça fait des sauvegardes automatiques. Du coup, je vais m'arrêter là. Donc, les aventures de Jonathan Sherlock Reed Holmes. Parce qu'il ressemble vraiment un peu à Sherlock Holmes du dernier jeu, là, The Devil's Daughter. Du coup, je vais m'arrêter là pour aujourd'hui. Alors, la session, était sympa. Mais c'est tout pour le moment. Je sais pas, j'attends que ce soit peut-être un peu plus... que ça avance un peu plus niveau scénar. Après, ouais, il y a une bonne ambiance et tout. Les combats, bon, je pense que les combats vont vite être assez répétitifs. Mais c'est sympa. Ça m'a donné envie déjà de continuer, ce qui est déjà pas mal. Et je continuerai demain... après-midi à la même heure, hein, comme d'hab. Tac. Meilleur peut-être que le prochain jeu Sherlock à venir. Ah bah ça j'ai hâte. Hein. J'ai hâte qu'il sorte le jeu. Bon, ce sera pas pour tout de suite, mais ouais, mais le prochain Sherlock, c'est un jeune Sherlock. Mais oui, il a pas autant de charisme que Sherlock dans The Devil's Daughter. Mais c'est un jeune Sherlock. Donc ça passe. Enfin, on verra. Mais ouais, c'est le prochain Sherlock Holmes, c'est un jeu que j'attends. En plus, aujourd'hui, il y a Little Nightmares 2 qui est sorti. Ça, c'est cool. Enfin bref. Du coup, je m'arrête là pour aujourd'hui. Et puis, à la prochaine. Pour un autre stream. Et puis, demain, la suite, comme d'hab. On dirait que Sherlock John vient. Ça lui vient de Twilight. C'est le cousin de... Comment il s'appelle dans Twilight? Je crois que c'est Edward. C'est le cousin d'Edward. Allez, des bisous. À plus.